The comic begins with a lady stating that, since creatures are nearing, they're seeking fresh beams of optimism, and that this is now everybody's moment to become a champion, and they should start their tales right here and now and to ensure they contact the Hero Association. As we view the signboard displaying the ad atop a structure, the lady's gazing up at it. Some folks on the road say that she's so adorable, and it must be a fresh advertisement. Another man questions why she doesn't just go fight monsters when she's an A-rank healer, as they haven't heard of her ever joining a battle. We see her resting there, feeling shy, and we discover that mankind was thrown into disorder with the arrival of monsters, and that people had awakened to a new ability, and everyone gained superpowers showing what we call aura. The shade of the aura showed their strength levels, and it became the way of sorting these people's ranks. They named these individuals, who were their only chances against the creatures, heroes. Looks like a mix of All Might and Batman. A director then shouts, "Stop!" telling the lady that her expression is too stern as she's meant to be the figurehead, and she can't even do the one thing she's here for, which is grinning. She says she'll attempt again and that she's sorry, as we see her eyes are empty of feeling. The director says that she's even prettier when she's beaming, and now she should smile like a figurehead should. We learn that her name is Cure Girl. They begin shooting and snapping photos of her, saying that this is great, and she should try grinning even broader, and she says this is not the life she desired. As a champion, she had dreamed of it since she was young. She showed her healing abilities in middle school, and when she was listed as an A-rank hero, she was thrilled to finally be up there with her idols, but it did not go as expected. As we see someone coughing up blood, she's doing her utmost to cure them, and her hand is trembling badly, as everybody else is bleeding out on the ground. She sits there as the man's pleading, yelling for her to heal, and he looks up at her, saying that she needs to rush, only for his head to get squashed like a pimple by a beast. She says that she was frozen with fear and couldn't do a single thing during her first real task. She was a champion who couldn't even use her talents. In the end, the only valuable thing she had was her looks, which is why she went from one shoot to the next. She stayed concealed from people because she was scared that they would notice that she was helpless. As she's strolling forward, she bumps into something and looks up, seeing that it's a telephone pole, and it even calls her a fool. She asks why she's getting mocked by a lifeless object, then hears a strange noise and looks down to see that there's a cat in a box, saying that it doesn't seem like a stray cat. She wonders what kind of awful person would abandon it here, and we see its eyes starting to water, and on its collar is the word stronger. She's puzzled by this and looks over to her side, seeing the stronger Jim. Apparently, the translators or the typesetter had some mix-up since it's not supposed to be Easy Fun Jim. I believe I will also call it Stronger Jim 2 for future reference. She says that it must belong there. She heads over, asking if there's anybody present. She pokes her head in, saying she's brought the cat from outside. We hear a man telling another to raise his rear, and the guy says that it aches and he can't take it anymore. POV. Listen to this with your eyes shut. He tells him to bear it because it's only going to hurt for a bit, and the first time is always like this, and he should just do his best to persist. The lady sees a very odd scene and starts to feel very confused, and the man who was on the floor getting trained is blushing like a total weirdo. He tells someone named Ma Wang that there is someone here. Ma Wang turns, which startles her, and she says that she's come to the wrong place and hopes they should continue with what they were doing. He stops her before she can shut the door and asks if she's a gym newbie, telling her not to be frightened and to come on in. Bro is really the Tiger King, Sar Frijo exotic. She wonders what's up with his tacky tiger outfit, saying it's gross. She is just a critic. She tries to explain that it's because of the cat. And when he looks over, Chad is standing there like an absolute Chad, and we see it with glasses on, even sipping some coffee. Ma Wang glances at it, and the cat says it's exactly what he thinks it is. We finally learn the other man's name, and Ma Wang tells him to go fetch their guest a serving of protein. Ki Wang says, "On it," and the girl is just baffled. Ma Wang then says that her arms are like noodles and tells her that she must be parched. He hands her a cup and then starts checking her body. She says that she's not feeling great, and he tells her that her knees are about to collapse, and her ankles are way past their due date, and she would have been dead had she postponed her visit any longer. He tells her not to fret, as he'll make it very simple for her. She asks what he's talking about, and he starts grinning, asking what she thinks, because he's talking about personal coaching. She says that she's not here for that, then he instantly tells her to hit the squats, and, for some reason, she follows along. She tells him to listen, but he doesn't. He gets her to do deadlifts with small dumbbells. He even gets her to do the bench press, telling her that she needs to keep going, and he'll give her a 1-minute rest now. He says, 2 more sets and she'll be finished, and she says this guy is not hearing her at all, as it has not even been 10 seconds. Her phone then starts beeping loudly, and when she picks it up, it starts to emit a red light that creates a hologram saying, "Emergency," and that there is a B-rank creature nearby, and there's only a single champion within the area. She wonders why there's a monster alert right now. She says it's very close, and she's the only hero here, and she wonders what to do, her hands shaking, and she says that even if she were to go, she doesn't know if she could do it. Malwang asks if she has to use the bathroom because she's trembling. He says the restroom's on her left out the door. She tries to explain that's not it, then decides to herself that it would just be useless. And he tells her to go. She's surprised by this, and she tries to say that even if she does go, he says that he knows she wants to, and she should just do that instead of holding back, and she shouldn't regret it later on. She's surprised by how wise he is, but instead he was talking about her using the bathroom as he tries to give her some toilet paper. She's already gone. He says that she must have been in a real rush, and the bathroom is out of toilet paper, so that's going to be unlucky for her. We see her dashing down the street until she comes to a halt, as people are yelling about the creature. She looks over at it saying that there's no other champion here besides her, and we see the B-rank monster called Naoman, whose real name is Betty. She says that she needs to do what she can. She tells everybody to be cautious not to bump into each other as they're fleeing, and to stay orderly, as Betty starts to crush a girl's life. Cure Girl sees this and is shocked and screams, "No!" as Betty tells her to bite the curb. She says that she is the only one here who can assist, and she wonders what she's doing and that she has to go because she's a champion. She starts gritting her teeth. She says that she just needs to push herself to do it, like when she poses for the camera, then she hears someone tell her to flee. She instantly opens her eyes, rushing forward, grabbing the girl, saving her from Betty's attack. She can't believe that she moved, and as she slides across the ground, Betty looks over at her. She asks the little girl if she's okay, and the girl recognizes her, saying that the monster frightened her really bad. As Betty rears back his fist, coming in for an assault, she closes her eyes, scared, but of course the Tiger King shows up and hits the creature, sending it flying backward, crashing into a nearby wall. She says that she's glad there was a champion nearby, only for her to be shocked, as Ma Wang says, "My goodness." And he starts stretching, telling her not to worry, as the top male is here, and he told her that the restroom is on her left out of the door. Cure Girl yells, telling him to look in front of him, as Betty's coming in for an assault, and it hits Ma Wang straight in the face, causing him to spit out blood. This time, he gets sent flying backward, but he manages to just catch himself before he goes too far and throws a rock, hitting Betty in the face. He then starts to pick up more and throws them one after the other. Betty lets out a scream, coming in for an attack, which Ma Wang dodges underneath, then he blocks the next one with his hands, and Cure Girl is just surprised. She can't see his aura, asking if he is just a regular guy, as Bro is getting beaten badly. She asks why he would do something so reckless, and that he needs to escape because he's going to die. Bro is getting the Loki treatment, as he's getting picked up by his leg and treated like a rag doll. Ma Wang is still smiling, holding his guard up, and then he begins laughing, asking Betty if this is all he's got, calling him a fat lump. Cure Girl wonders if maybe he has some kind of hidden weapon, and Ma Wang says that Betty could never win against him because of one reason. She starts to smile, thinking he does, and he hits the coolest pose of all time, saying that it's because the A-rank hero Cure Girl is right there. Even the little girl is starting to look up at her, but Cure Girl is just confused, asking what he's talking about. She looks over at Ma Wang, still holding the coolest pose of all time, and she asks if the secret weapon is really her. She starts shaking her head because she's nervous, and Ma Wang's smile starts to fade because she's just sitting there doing nothing as Betty comes in for an attack. Ma Wang gets hit straight in the face, and Cure Girl says that she's sorry. Bro does plenty of flips before landing head first, and she says that he's going to die because of her, and she can't stay still forever. She's screaming, trying to get her power to work, as Ma Wang is getting absolutely crushed. Betty starts to come in for a big move. I take it back. He begins hitting him with a flurry of punches as Cure Girl is crying, saying that she wants it to work just once, but Betty's attacks go out anyway, wrecking the ground all around. Cure Girl then begins to weep, and Betty's just sweating and a bit tired out. We see Ma Wang lying there still, and his cool outfit got ruined. Betty then starts walking over towards Cure Girl, and she says that, like always, she has failed, but we hear Ma Wang calling out to Betty, causing him to turn around. He says this hurts his pride, asking if he's done already, as he admits that he got him once, but he has built his body for years with iron, and that he's looking down on it too much. Even if he's in this state, he's still the owner of the stronger gym. Betty begins screaming as he goes in for another attack, kicking Malwang backwards into a wall. Malwang starts to stand back up and laughs, saying that hurt more than he thought, and he's not saying that it's her fault, so she should stop crying like a child. She says that she's the hero, yet she's being comforted by a civilian. As Betty raises his hand into the air, she pleads, saying that even if it's just this once, she wants it to activate. We see a purple glow starting to shine from her hands. There's also a bright red light as well, and a huge blast that soon follows. Betty is shocked, and Malwang says that when it hits, it really hits. We see the aura starting to surround him, and it even has a cross on his chest now. Cure Girl also has a little cross in her eye. We learn that her superpower is that it allows her to restore the health and mend the injuries of her target, and we finally learn that her name is Li Jian. Malwang chuckles, saying that defeating a creature with a pretty girl who just awakened sure sounds fun, and Betty begins to sweat nervously, as Malwang has one heck of an evil grin. Grabbing onto Betty's hand, he completely tosses him, saying that this is the absolute best. Betty crashes into the wall. He then pulls out a big pole from the ground and says that he's going to send him even further away this time. Betty then begins to yell once more and leaps off the ground directly towards Malwang, but Malwang swings the pole as if it was a bat, so hard that it even breaks the pole itself, sending the debris flying everywhere, but it also knocks Betty into a nearby bus. Malwang asks why the heck the pole was so weak, and we hear Kiwang calling out to him, telling him that it's time for the nuclear weapon delivery, as he throws something forward. Malwang catches it. He says that he knew he smelled something, and since the year 1986, they have been boasting the history for 40 years of their tradition, which is Jiangchong Dong. Jian is totally confused, and the simple explanation is that it's jumbo pig trotters. Malwang begins eating away at it, and he says, "This is awesome." And you can just feel the protein hit every vessel in his body, and he can't stop eating pork. Betty is starting to regain consciousness and looks forward. Betty runs in, hitting Malwang with a punch to the stomach, but Malwang smiles. Betty is shocked to see that he didn't actually hit him, but rather the jumbo pig trotter. Malwang says that they say you should leave even dogs alone when they're eating, and asks if maybe Betty wants to eat some too, and starts beating him, telling him that he should taste the protein, then smacks him straight on the head. As Betty comes in for attacks, Malwang starts dodging them and then replies with his signature leg press kick. As Betty is still roaring, Malwang gets close, grabbing onto his stomach, and puts the pig trotter in his mouth, slamming it down, saying that this is the mouth lat pull down. Betty tail swipes him straight in the face, and as he starts to spit out blood, Malwang laughs, saying that he's not going to stop here. As they continue their fight, he and Betty start trading blows with one another, and I honestly can't tell who's winning because it's quietly very silly. Jian then starts to use her ability once more and casts heal, as we see it starting to form around Malwang once more, treating his wounds. He then jumps into the air with a pig trotter behind him and lets out a wild scream. Betty does as well, and Malwang comes down with a massive overhand strike, demolishing Betty. Jian just looks relieved as Betty is lying on the floor. Malwang tells her that her story begins now, saying that this is how she said it in the ad. Jian says that she had a feeling that something was different this time, and she starts to smile brightly, saying that he shouldn't joke at times like this. We then see her sign a contract for the stronger gym with her bloody fingerprint. She puts it on the contract, only to be shocked because he pulled it out of nowhere, and Malwang starts to have that grin, saying that a new member has joined. Kiwang's so happy bro starts throwing that back and Jian starts cringing, saying that she had a bad feeling. It seems as Kiwang is still throwing it back, we get a wide view of Betty taking a dirt nap. It then jumps to Malwang telling Jian to stop messing around and to lift with discipline, as she's doing a deadlift. She asks what's going on and why she's even doing this. We get a flashback to after he forcefully made her sign the contract and he held it up to her. She tried to explain that she didn't, and he says that unlimited personal training sessions for $100 a month and $300 for a whole year, he'll pay special care to the personal training for her. He says that she just got a huge deal as she's now on her way to become the healthiest life form on this planet. We see the weights drop to the floor, and he asks what she thinks she's doing as she has to lift the barbell with discipline as we see her in pain on the ground, crying. She says that she just wants to go home, and he said this is easy, but it isn't. She can't even put strength into her hands anymore. She says on the topic of strength, the other day she got a huge burst of power and she hasn't felt anything like that since. But she was able to use her powers again and she can't figure out the reason, but says it could have to do with Mal Wang. But for some reason she calls him the Horse King. I think she meant Tiger King. Never mind, bro is a real person. What the heck? And that if she spends time with him, she might be able to find that power once more. But this should not be it. We then hear the cat from outside, as it walks over, brushing up against her leg. She asks the cat if it's comforting her, thanking it. Mal Wang gives the little cat a thumbs up, saying that this is some carrot and stick action. She then freaks out because Kiwang puts a cold water bottle to the back of her neck. He says that the first time is always tough and that she should stay hydrated. She thanks him. He says that even if it's hard now, the sweat she spills will become her muscles in the future, and if she sows the seeds, they'll definitely grow. She laughs, saying, "Indeed," as something drops out of his bag. She mentions it, and he says that this was supposed to be kept a secret. She asks what it is, and he says that it's a movie script that he's working on as an actor on the side. She asks if she can take a look, and he says, "Of course." She's surprised that he's a villain and a minor one at that, saying that he must be disappointed that he isn't the main character. He says that he isn't, and it's a role that makes people hate him on and off the stage. But for a protagonist to shine, a villain needs to exist, and he finds joy in playing his role, as villain roles are something he enjoys. She's so surprised that he has this kind of side to him and says that he sure is cute. She then hears him making some heavy lifting sounds, and when she looks over, she sees him doing some very deep squats. She asks if he's okay. Bro starts even making the ugly face we've all been there in the gym. Mal Wang says he's a worthless piece of garbage and asks if this is all he's got. She asks him what he's doing as he's getting crushed, and Kiwang laughs, saying that this is it. She asks what he means, and Mal Wang still starts insulting him heavily, asking if he's giving him that tough love. Kiwang says, "Just a bit more," and his wrist starts to look strained. Mal Wang tells him that he needs to make his elbow straight, asking why he's so weak, and that if he tells anybody that he's going to his gym, he's going to beat the heck out of him, because he's the package, and Kiwang is just the luggage, and he needs to pack his things and get out. I don't know what kind of boot camp yelling we got here, but it works. But Kiwang says, "Just a bit more," and then he overhead presses the entire barbell while screaming, and he starts begging Mal Wang to insult him more. Wow, what a character. Mal Wang asks if he wants him to work him to the point that he's in bad shape. His actual words. Jian is already thinking about switching to a different series, while Kiwang looks all proud and refreshed and lets out a wild sigh. Her phone then starts to beep, as he's still over there insulting him, and the masochist is sitting there enjoying it. It's a call for a public support request, and that they're trying to fix the mess from last time. Kiwang says it's time to head out then, and she tries to tell him that this is just for heroes, as he runs out the door before she can say it. She looks surprised, asking Mal Wang if he'll be all right, since it might be risky. Mal Wang asks what she's talking about, saying that he thought she knew, and that Kiwang is actually a B-class hero, which she did not know. Why did her alert only show one hero in the area then? We see many of the champions working hard to clean up the debris, and it's anywhere between A-rank to C-rank heroes. Some of them are using mind powers to lift blocks, while others, like Kiwang, are just using raw strength to tidy the area up. Mal Wang spots him, asking her if she's ready to get started. She says yes. We then hear a guy say, "Holy cow," as he recognizes Cure Girl. He says that he saw her face on TikTok as we see her doing some anime pose, but it's not just that, as she did a bunch of little trends to try to make the Hero Association pop and dance to some very cute music. The guy asks if she can do it for him live because he wants to put it on Instagram, and it'll go viral. She tells him that she's on a mission right now, and he grabs her arm forcefully, telling her to stop lying, as he knows she doesn't do missions, and that she should just listen to him. She screams, and he says that if she won't do it, he says maybe she can shake her hips a little bit and get some dinner. Mal Wang yells out the food name, causing the guy to look over, confused. He starts busting out the same exact moves that Jian was, and I'm just saying his version looks way better. Bro is rocking the Tiger King underwear. Fun fact, I have a pair of Tiger King underwear too. As he's dancing, they just start getting embarrassed, and Mal Wang asks if he wants to take him to dinner instead, and that he has some ideas in mind. Jian is getting a ton of secondhand embarrassment, and the guy walks over to Mal Wang, grabbing onto his shirt, calling him a jerk. Mal Wang says that they can go to whatever restaurant he wants, and the dude says that he knows it's him, saying that he's that jerk. Ma Wang is confused, and we get a flashback to 3 years ago. Some kids are smoking in a no-smoking zone, saying that if something happens, they're saying that every time they do something, the kids cry and wet their pants, begging for their parents. We see the guy giving us the flashback as we hear Ma Wang calling out to them. He asks what they're doing in a smoke-free zone, saying that he'd like for them to put their cigarettes out, and Bro is shirtless in the snow. One of the dudes asks if he's an exhibitionist or something, saying that it's winter. The blonde guy asks his friend why he's having such an attitude towards an adult, and apologizes to Ma Wang, saying they didn't know it was a smoke-free zone. Ma Wang then tells him that smoking harms their health, and that he wants the rest of their cigarettes, and since it's over for him because of all of his steroid usage, he'll sacrifice the rest he's got in their honor. Then the guy rips something off, which is none other than the no-smoking poster, and the dude laughs, saying that it's a smoke zone now, and then spits right on Ma Wang's face. He then starts mocking him, saying that he must have gone deaf, asking if he can't hear him as Ma Wang sits there. This guy mistakes it as him being afraid. The guy runs in, saying that he's going to hit him with a punch to get the tears out of his face. But the exact next panel is a puddle of urine on the floor, and a cigarette in the middle. Rip Bro is a maniac. The guy is crying and snot is running out of his nose as Ma Wang is giving him one heck of a death stare. Ma Wang says he remembers him, asking if he finally quit smoking. The guy starts clenching his teeth, and he says that he's such a jerk for not being able to read the room, saying that he's been looking for him as he's become much more of an adult since then. He begins releasing an orange glow, burning Ma Wang where he's standing with a pillar of fire, which he calls cigarette fire for some reason. Jian yells for Ma Wang, wondering what an awakened is doing to an unawakened. The guy says that he's not the same as before, and that he should probably receive some revenge, and he can't even say anything now that he's burning alive. Ma Wang then starts singing the song from when he was throwing out those moves earlier, running through the fire. He hits the guy in the face, sending one of his teeth flying out, but it's not just that. The dude is now soaring through the air. He's continuing to sing the song and even adds little bits into it, making fun of how all of the dude's teeth are now on the floor. He says that he thought he could hurt him, who sculpted his muscles for years, with some power that he got without working. He doesn't even have common sense, but Jian is just saying, no, he totally should have been burned. She wonders what kind of plot armor he has. We then hear another voice asking what this is, as they heard a commotion over here, saying he missed his stronger gym cutie, asking if this is fate, and the lively warrior even throws out a heart. He was in the background of one of the earlier panels in a pink outfit. His name is a secret, so is his ability, but he is a field manager at the Hero Management Bureau and says that he likes those with a Z chromosome. Never would have guessed. The Heart King says that it's been a while and he's glad to see Jian, but she needs to get out of the way. Jian wonders what kind of story they have, and Heart King starts groping Ma Wang's chest, saying that this body is so thrilling and calls him darling. She can't believe that she's about to see some boy love and wonders if this is the right series. But Ma Wang is making an entirely different face compared to the Heart King. The Heart King then starts licking all over his shoulders, saying that it's so tasty, and Ma Wang screams, running away, begging that somebody saves him, as the Heart King chases after him. Ma Wang says that he doesn't want any part of this, as the Heart King yells, saying that he'll make him feel good like last time, as he taught him well. Jian asks what the heck he means by last time, and we hear the blonde-haired guy groaning, and she looks down to the floor, asking if he's all right, telling him not to move so soon. He knocks her backwards, telling her to stay away from him, and that he won't be able to forgive Ma Wang for what he's done to him. He starts to release even more fire, saying that he heard where he is, and that he should just wait as he'll go burn his lousy gym to the ground. Jian's surprised that he's so angry and tells him to wait, as she can't let him do that. He's the one who started it and that he should be ashamed of himself, and he shouldn't use sneaky methods because he himself is lacking. He tells her to be quiet, asking who she thinks she is, and if she starts talking, he'll burn her mouth shut. She then starts hitting him with the superhuman law, as the awakened will not use their abilities on civilians, but he already broke that, asking if he knows how serious the crime is, as it's obviously attempted murder. And if he tries to make more of a fuss, she'll stop him herself as a hero. But we see tears in her eyes. He runs at her with his fist on fire, saying that she's a nobody who only has her face, asking what she can even do, as she starts to put up her guard, afraid of the attack. She slowly opens her eyes after nothing happens, only to see Bro got covered in some weird yellow stuff. She's shocked, wondering what in the world is going on, and we hear a creature asking where the person with the tanghulu is. As it starts leaving a trail behind, it says that its hands are trembling and it feels dizzy, and it starts asking where the tanghulu is, saying that it needs it now, and we see a giant weird little dragon slime hybrid standing before her. The monster is called the Fat Hulu, and it is an A rank monster. Its ability is called the Sweet Tummy Acid, and it freezes targets and chokes them. She wonders why there's an A rank creature here now. It begins to fire its attack straight at her, and she raises her arms while yelling. The attack hits some sort of shield around her, and Fatty is just puzzled, but so is Jian until she realizes it. We then hear a lady telling her to move aside as she's blocking the way. She traps Fatty with a cage made from thin air. Fatty is trying hard to dissolve the bars and slip through them. There's enough opposition that Fatty is fully caught, unable to budge. Jian looks up, seeing the girl hovering in the air, asking if she's the S-rank hero Yura. Yura tells her not to exaggerate, and we learn her full name is Kimura. Her ability is shape creation, and she's a freelance hero who left the association. Fatty starts to yell, but we see his body beginning to wrap around the cage, and Jian is just curious what it's doing. It manages to get its arm out, reaching toward her, and she says this is bad, as her powers aren't working. Yura calls him gooey and gross and starts to form something in the air above her. She lifts her hand into the air, saying that it's nasty, telling it to get lost. Fatty is confused, reaching his small, chubby hands up, only to get crushed by her giant air hammer, sending his pieces flying around. Jian covers her face, then opens her eyes to see that he just got destroyed and says that she's incredible. Yura says that she looks familiar, asking who she is. Jian gets thrilled, saying that she has seen her at the association before and tells her that she's Cure Girl. Yura says that she didn't recognize her, but then says that she's the Joker from back then. Jian asks what she means, and Yura is looking around for someone, saying they're not here either, asking where they went. We then hear Mal Wang screaming for dear life. Heart King is wrapped around him, trying to give him kisses. Bro doesn't want any part of this. Jian asks the Heart King what's happening, only for Yura to hit the Heart King, sending him soaring away, pretty much just blasting this guy. Yura says that he can't do anything without her, and there's no need for him to thank her. Then she spots Jian, touching all over Mal Wang's arms, comforting him while he's crying his eyes out because he almost just got molested. Something snaps inside Yura as she gets angry. Mal Wang says that he was so scared, he barely managed to escape him, only to spot Yura there releasing her aura, and he gets excited. He starts to walk over, asking how long it's been and why she's not coming to the gym anymore, only for her hammer to hit him straight head first into the concrete floor. She calls him disgusting, and Jian says they must know each other. A yellow goo grabs onto her foot. It's none other than Fatty, who's back, saying that hurt. Turns out she didn't kill him. He goes in for an attack, which Ma Wang manages to grab Jian and get her out of, telling her to be careful. Yura is starting to feel like a princess because he's carrying her, and he says that was really risky, asking if she's okay. She says yes and thanks him, and then he laughs, saying that she's welcome. Yura mistakes this as them flirting and starts to get even more angry. She starts to say, "Look at this," acting all innocent, and that she's nothing but a grandma trying to act like she's cute. We then hear her yell, "My!" And when Mal Wang turns, we see her on the floor saying that she tripped. She says she had a boo-boo while giving Mal Wang puppy dog eyes. It doesn't work because instead Mal Wang is begging for her to save him, as Fatty is coming in for more attacks. She clicks her tongue, and as Fatty crushes where Mal Wang is standing, Yura tells him to read the room, as there's no place for it, so it should get lost already. We see Mal Wang holding onto her waist, while she has Jian floating in the air behind them. She then drops some kind of cooling unit in front of it. Jian says that S-ranks are really different. She starts to activate the fridge, telling it to freeze Fatty. We see it doing exactly that, and its skin color starts to slowly change, as it is becoming harder, and it has been frozen completely solid, unable to move. Mal Wang tells her that she did a great job, and she says surely he's not just going to stay there. She puts some armor all around his body. He says this is awesome, and with this, he can definitely take it down, but she says there's going to be more, as she starts to put him inside a cannon. He says, "This is it," and he's locked and loaded while laughing like a maniac. She fires him out directly toward Fatty's mouth, breaking the sound barrier as he's going Mach, flying straight toward the creature. It starts to break free of the freezing a little bit, coming in for a punch while screaming. Mal Wang meets it with a shoulder charge, and they collide right there in the air. Fatty's pieces start to get sent flying around as Mal Wang's piercing straight through it, flying through the creature's arm, shattering it down the middle. He yells after sending it everywhere, saying that this is called the Fat Buster, as Bro completely destroyed the top of the creature's head, taking it off with him. Jian is speechless, but Yura looks like she expected as much. Mal Wang lands on the ground, saying that this is the no more obesity touchdown. Who named this? We then see a strange aura display multiple colors around his wrist until it fades away. Jian spots this as well, wondering what that is, but says there's no way she saw it right because he doesn't have any powers, and it must be wrong. Mal Wang turns around and looks at the creature with a smile on his face. Yura can't believe he's inviting her to third wheel, and Jian says, "Okay," as they start walking away. Mal Wang says that he was really cool. She tells him to stop acting tough, while Yura just sits there. She's looking at the creature and says, "Okay." They're then all looking down at the food on the plate, and even Ki Wang is here. Yura asks why he's eating pig feet again. Mal Wang tells her to be quiet and not to insult his protein. She says it's because he eats this every day, calling him a weirdo. Ki Wang just thanks him for the meal. Mal Wang says that he was going to pick the meat off for her, so she should stop whining and dig in. She tries to play it off, acting like it's tsundere, saying that since he's asking so nicely, but in reality, she's freaking out, saying that she's completely fallen, only for him to immediately tell Jian to go ahead and say, "Ah." Yura can't believe that he's doing something for Jian that he didn't do for her, asking if he's serious. Jian says she's fine, and she's not that hungry, only for her stomach to start growling loudly. Mal Wang tells her to go ahead and look over. Ki Wang asks if she really doesn't like the food, and Yura tells him to shut up and let her starve. Jian says it's because she's on a diet, and she doesn't really want to tell them it's because she has anorexia. Mal Wang says that extreme diets are not allowed, and a healthy meal is required after exercise, as good food creates a strong body, and she should take a bite and treat it as 3 sets of 10 reps of eating. She tells him that she's fine, and he slams the table, telling her to do it now. She starts to nibble on it, and her eyes immediately open wide, saying that this taste sure is awesome. We get some Food Wars-style imagery of a pair of pigs dancing, and she says that this is a tango of passion. She says it's tasty. Mal Wang asks her to repeat it, and she says this is really great. He says it's nice to see her dig in. Even Yura joins in, saying that she won't lose to her. Mal Wang says this is great, Bro loves pig feet. Ki Wang is just fourth-wheeling at this point. Back to the gym, we see Jian in the middle of a workout, which I can't tell what it is because she's sitting down. Maybe good mornings or box squats. She puts down the barbell and lets out a sigh as she's looking at herself in the mirror, and she looks much better than she did at the start of the series. She says that it feels like she's totally changed and she's been eating well, and she doesn't feel sad anymore, and that it must be thanks to Mal Wang's exercises. Somebody then starts to stretch their hands out to her, which she senses and turns, only to see someone with a Shin ramen box on their head, calling out for their brother. It causes Jian to scream in panic, running backwards, asking them who they are, and they take off the box, crying, saying to please stop their brother because they lost their parents at a young age. Her brother did everything to fill in, and he would work day and night, and he even saved up enough to send her abroad for school. Thanks to him, she managed to graduate from college, and she only returned to Korea a few days ago. But her brother's become weird. He just suddenly says this odd catchphrase out of nowhere. He also doesn't come home often, and she decided to see where he goes, so she disguised herself and followed him, as she learned from Metal Gear Solid. Jian says that she doesn't need to hide anymore. The girl screams, saying no, and she saw it with her own eyes as she was peering into the gym. She put her face to the glass, as she was shocked by what she saw, as it was none other than a cult leader with tiger print underwear. Horse King, you're catching strays, bruh. And she's certain that her brother's been brainwashed by this cult leader. She says that she's definitely talking about Mal Wang and says that it's a place for people to gather and work out, and that she's misunderstanding it, only for them to start hearing some very creepy training sounds. They both look scared, wondering what the sound is, and we see a red curtain and people lifting weights as somebody keeps saying, "Die in hell." And of course there's an evil silhouette that looks as if they're stabbing someone, causing blood to fly out everywhere. Jian decides to take action and moves the curtain away, asking them what they are doing, only to see 4 absolute freaks in front of her, glaring towards her. She looks terrified, and they say that the time has come, and they stretch their hands out towards her, singing to go to hell, only for them to dash past her and past the other girl, dashing outside. Jian's confused, and the girls just screaming as they see tons of blood left all over the floor from where they were, and the other girl just dies on the spot. You had a short screen time, you will not be missed. And she just wonders who they were, so they both decide to follow them. The girl says that she's not certain because of their makeup, but she's sure that her brother is one of them. Jian says that she sees, and she doesn't think she should let them be, as we see them all walking away. They're reaching towards an old lady with a giant bag, and it looks very ominous, and they're yelling, telling her to give it. Jian tells the granny to watch out, only for the granny to turn, and then we see them carrying her away, and the other person's grabbing the bag. Jian and the girl still wonder what the hell is up with them, and we hear them tell the grandmother to go to hell, and Jian says that she knew something was off. The girl says that it's happening again as they follow them. We see a ball stuck in a tree with a little boy crying, and one of them raising his weapon into the air right above the kid, looking like he's about to kill him. Jian runs, screaming, "No!" only for the guy to swing directly towards the child, and we hear a loud sound. Turns out that he hit the tree, causing the ball to fall down, and the kid immediately looks relieved. One of them stretches the ball toward the kid, saying that it was the soccer ball guillotine, and that the kid should get ready because he's next. Now they're very confused, asking what they want. Jian asks the girl if she wants to keep following them, and she says yes, as they do so. We see tons of rude people smiling everywhere, as there's a whole group meeting with perhaps some kind of event. Jian and the girl see them laughing and look worried, and they say that every one of them are gathering in this area and that they're paying money for something and that this might actually be a cult. If that's the case, they need to stop them. We then hear the girl from earlier saying, "Die," over and over, and she walks forward, and we see her on Jian's shoulders telling the guy to go to hell, and as they pay money to enter, she bumps her head going in and just dies, getting carried away on the inside. The girl said it was a perfect plan, and Jian tells her to come over here, as they're in this room. As the door slowly starts to crack open, we see a bunch of red lights shining on the stage. The people from the gym are all standing there in robes. They start smiling and they say, "Now the doors to hell have been opened." The girl said that's her brother's voice, and Jian asks if she's sure. A bloody object then starts to get carted out onto the stage, and the guy asks if everybody's ready. One of the men then grabs onto his mask and throws it high into the sky, and we see none other than Ma Wang telling them to go to hell. Jian is just confused as the crowd starts going crazy at his appearance, and they keep yelling, "Go to hell and die," as we see all of the members from Stronger Gym too. Even Heart King, Ki Wong, and Yura are there too. Jian wonders if they're all in this together and if Ma Wang is truly some kind of cult leader. One of the KISS members says that the King of Hell has asked for it, and it's time to give him the sacrifice as they pull the curtain off of what's on the tray. Jian wonders if it's actually going to be a person, as Ma Wang raises a meat cleaver into the air. He says that he'll do it with his own hands. He then starts to swing it down, and we see blood flying everywhere as he cuts something directly in half. And Jian tries to stop it, but it's too late, and she only sits there in horror as the blood splatters across the arena. All of the KISS members begin laughing, telling everybody to be glad. This is what they wanted and what they asked for. Turns out it's ketchup, and they're throwing nothing but burgers around the crowd. People are catching them, and Jian's just staring at them. Ma Wang says that now they have refueled what they need for muscle growth, and everybody should follow him and scream, and they start squatting, and the lyrics are mega deadlift up, bench press, power lifted up. And it just continues on, and on. As it turns out, it's none other than a charity concert for the band Megadeth, and that the entrance fee for the concert is donated to the improvement of the city, and that all of the things they saw the band members doing earlier were them just looking out for fellow citizens. They continue the concert, and they even hit a ridiculous T-pose that everybody follows, and the girl says that it's such a relief. Jian calls out to her, and she says that she was just worried about her brother changing, and she was silly, as it was one big misunderstanding. And although he's wearing scary makeup, her brother is making everybody happy just like he always has. Jian's now starting to see it all in a better light, and the lights themselves start to become a little brighter. Everybody's smiling, having a great time, and Jian says that there are some A-rank and S-rank heroes, but none of them matter. These people right here have the ability to make others happy, and that this moment truly shows that they are all heroes, and she gives us a very warm smile. For some reason, they start yelling, and the girl is crying again, and we get another good look at all of the band members, and this guy is strumming his guitar. The guy with the drums is using weights. This guy is squatting his instrument, and the singer is just tearing into it, pouring his heart out. It then jumps to the building from an outside view, and we go even further and further until we're looking at our pale blue dot. And then from that, someone's aiming onto it from a spaceship, and they have a grin as some kind of odd pyramid structure is heading straight towards Earth. This makes me want to go get a burger. A little later, we hear them tap their shaker bottles, and they cheers one another. And the dude says that the concert today was awesome. The reactions were pretty good during Mal Wang's part. Mal Wang says yes, and especially at the ketchup, only for them to spit their drink out on him. The dude asks if this is what he meant, and Mal Wang starts grabbing his face, yelling. He then starts chasing the long-haired guy, telling him to get back here, and he just tells him to try catching him whenever he can, and laughs. Yura asks what they are doing, and Jian just wonders who they are. The dude says that even the great horse king can't catch him, and he sure doesn't live up to his name. And the little sister tells her brother to say sorry. Jian then realizes that's her brother, and as Mal Wang is chasing him, she says there's no way, asking if these are really the same people from the mega death band that she just saw a second ago, because they look nothing remotely similar to what they look like in their makeup. Jian says there's no way they're using those faces like that, and Yura says that she already told her they're losers. Mal Wang is breaking this guy's back like he was Bane from Batman, and says that he should try messing around with him again. He then feels a sensation in his butt, and immediately understands that he needs to go to the bathroom. He leaves the guy's body, saying that he'll finish dealing with him when he's back from the bathroom, and Ki Wang says he wants to go with what a weirdo. As they're walking over, Ki Wang says that Mal Wang seems very excited today. Mal Wang says it's not like that, and starts laughing, and then we hear a lady call out to them, and when they turn, she looks very nervous, and has her phone in her hand. Mal Wang wonders if this is his first ever female fan, and the girl starts to ask him if it's okay, and he misunderstands it as her wanting to take a picture, only for her to smack the heck out of him instead, and she asks Ki Wang if he has a girlfriend, because she saw him at the concert venue earlier, poor Horse King. The girl gives her number to him, saying she should call him later, and Mal Wang just cries some manly tears. A bit later, we see the girl's brother saying, apparently the concert donation was safely delivered, and Ji says that even if they look funny, they truly are kind-hearted people. Yura says that the two of them have really big influence and that they're very close friends, and she asks which two she's talking about. She says she's talking about Mal Wang and the bass player. They went around helping those who lost their families or were harmed by creatures. Those who were in their favor back then gathered to create a band, and they used the concert funds to help those who were struggling, just like those two did for them, again painting them in a very warm light. Jian starts to smile, saying that the Horse King is quite strange, and when someone sees him, they want to follow him, and he's someone who spreads good energy, and perhaps that's why when she's with him she starts to feel happy. Yura can't believe that she's acting like this, seeing her as competition, but Ji says that it seems like the two of them have been together for a long time. Yura immediately flips her personality because she hears the word together, and she starts to think about when she first met him. We see a very chubby version of her working on the Stairmaster with her pump cover on, and she tripped and fell, landing on her back. The other gym-goers noticed her and walked over, and we see her struggling to get back up, and damn, she has lost a lot of weight. Mal Wang calls out to her, saying that she's been training for over 3 hours now. She tells him to leave her alone. He says that there's nothing to be embarrassed about, and he might look like this, but he's the owner of the stronger gym, and she should just trust and follow him. She then yells, telling him to get lost, calling him a horse-headed jerk. He turns into an actual horse, asking what she means. She asks if it's funny to watch a chubby person waddle around, laughing behind her back. She wants everyone to stop watching her. He asks why she thinks they're laughing, and she mistakes them having a great time working out as her just being a pig, when in reality that's not how it is at all because they have two different views of the room. Mal Wang tries to tell her there's been a misunderstanding, and she hits his hand away and starts to run out of the building. He sees her running away. Some other time, back at his gym, she's on the Stairmaster once more. When she goes to fall backwards, she feels something catching her, and we hear Mal Wang saying she's full of fighting spirit as always. Bro's been on the nastiest bulk. Yura was surprised, and he says he tried something new, and he went on a tasty restaurant tour, and he's forgotten what it feels like to be this full. She asks why he's doing this, because everybody's going to stare at him, but they'll judge him as much as they want. While he's in that form, he also cannot be loved at all. She begins crying. We then see someone drop their backpack onto the floor, and it's none other than the girl's older bro. Then the bass player asks what's wrong with him. Yura says that she told him, and now that he's also going to get flamed, and instead the bass player asks if he can try hitting him. Malwang says that it won't be easy, as he's completely full. Then everybody starts surrounding him, telling the rest to come look at Malwang, saying that Bro is curvier than a model. Bro starts eating the glaze, and Yura is just puzzled as hell by the situation. Malwang asks if she understands it now, as people's points of views don't change that easily. If people knew him, they wouldn't hate him just for gaining weight, as it's still him in the end, and he doesn't know why she abuses herself so much. But she should at least do it while having fun, whether it's exercise or anything else. She's hesitant, but understands that he's right, and we start to see him personally training her as he gets her to do some deadlifts. They also argued a lot, but they also pigged out together, and as time went on, she slowly got down to the form we're familiar with. Malwang was very proud of it as she locked in. She lets out a scream as she lifted the weight above her head. She was just surprised that she actually managed to do it. She even had Megadeth sitting there encouraging her. And she lets out a sigh as it starts hitting her once more. She lets out a big smile because she's so proud of her accomplishment. She says that it's nothing much, and the flashback ends. She then wonders why Malwang's taking so long in the bathroom, and the building starts to shake as debris begins to fall from the ceiling. People wonder if there's an outbreak or a creature nearby because there was a loud sound on the outside. We see a purple glow in the sky, and the civilians are looking up. Jian runs outside to Malwang and Kiwang, asking what's wrong as they heard a very loud boom. Then Jian looks up, seeing that giant pyramid-like structure in the sky above them, and she wonders what it is because the base pro shop is invading crazy style. Kiwang says that it was a notification from the association and they need to hurry and evacuate. Jian asks if they're really just meant to leave that and go, and Yura asks if she's even really a hero. They ask Malwang what they should do, telling him to say something, and he says there's no way. Jian's surprised that he's not trying to just headbutt it. He says that if it's that big, there's nothing he can do and they should just listen to the order. Something then begins to beam down behind them, and when they all turn, the light gets very strong as it impacts directly on the ground. Something begins to emerge from it, saying that this is a fascinating sight. It is a form that they've never seen. It is the ultimate evolution made to survive in an unfamiliar setting, and that they are excited to see the strong warriors they've become as it slowly steps forward. We see the Duolingo bird on Meth and the moon from Mahora's Mask. It is called Commander 5, and it is question mark level, and we don't know its ability, and the commander says that they should hurry up and enjoy their harvest. Everybody else is kind of staring at him, thinking this is some kind of prank. Malwang then even lets out some laughter, saying there's no way this is real. From the pyramid, someone tells Commander 5 that he's wrong. Commander 5 asks what they mean, and they say that those are organisms called humans. They're completely different beings, and they're not the seeds they had planted. Commander 5 asks what they're saying. The person in the pyramid says that according to the analysis, only 10% of the warriors actually came into fruition, and even those are being eliminated by humans, meaning that this farming has failed. Commander 5 starts to get angry, asking how the hell they failed since it took too long to come here. Okay, the Duolingo bird and Pac-Man's creepy are two different people, as they call them parasites, saying they will eradicate them all. Malwang walks forward, saying that he can't let him keep speaking. Jian asks what he's doing, and then he says that they should just stay still, as the circus member-looking guy is treating them like insects. The bass player tries to get him to stop, as he obviously came in a weird spaceship, so he's dangerous. As he gets closer, he stops and calls out to the rest, asking if they're really this scared. The Megadeth boys start to take this as a challenge, and Malwang says that teaching kids is his specialty. I'm not going to lie, I thought Commander 5 was huge. This is the height difference between 5'11" and 6. The Duolingo bird says that they won't stand by anymore as an uncivilized jerk speaks to them. Malwang yells, pointing to his spaceship, saying that he's going to get a ticket for illegally parking his spaceship. Duolingo turns, saying that he's already gotten 10, only to see the ship is not actually being ticketed at all, and Malwang hits him with a surprise kick in the back, sending him soaring as he crashes into a nearby wall. Malwang asks who he really plans to eradicate. Duolingo gets angry and runs directly at him, saying that he's going to kill him. Malwang tells him to wait because there's something behind him. Duolingo says that he will not be fooled twice, and then one of the band members hits him with a dumbbell tackle. Malwang says that he should have believed him as Duolingo is soaring directly towards the other boys. They hit him with a double swing wombo combo, sending it soaring away, as it was an alley-oop directly towards the bass player, who says that he'll finish things off. But instead, Mal Wang shows up saying that he's his, as he rears back his fist. He says this is his specialty Horse King punch. Duolingo locks in, and we start to see a bright blue light emanating in front of Mal Wang's face, only for Duolingo to shoot out one hell of an energy beam directly towards Mal Wang and the bass player. We don't get to see if they were hit or not, but Jian and the rest scream, "No!" The smoke begins to settle, as we see a giant mark in the terrain from where the attack came out of, and people in the back have been turned to stone, as if they had looked at Medusa. Mal Wang looks down at his shin, asking what kind of joke this is, as his $1,000,000 calf has turned into stone. We finally learn that the bass player's name is Dave, and Mal Wang turns, only to see him reaching out towards him, but now he is completely turned into stone. Mal Wang's eyes look shocked, as we see Dave's bass drop to the floor. He also begins to fall forward, shattering into thousands of pieces, crumbling. The band members and even his little sister start crying. Jian and the rest are speechless, as Commander 5 is now preparing yet another energy beam. The little girl runs over, grabbing onto her brother's head. The realization that things just got real has clicked for Mal Wang. Mal Wang starts to recall all the memories he and Dave shared together, and how every single time he left he was just so happy to see his warm smile, as the next time would be just as fun. As Dave's head looks filled with fear for Mal Wang's life, his little sister picks it up and starts bawling her eyes out, screaming. So do the other band members, asking what's going on. Commander 5 says that all their chirping is making his ears hurt. He calls them insects only for him to stop his attack, because something catches him off guard. Mal Wang starts to release his own aura, and then shoots up high into the sky, as he's showing every single color possible for the ranking. The guy in the pyramid watches this and laughs, saying, "This is interesting," as Mal Wang's eyes are filled with tears. He looks as if he's been completely blinded by rage. He then dashes off the ground, coming in with a punch straight towards Commander 5. Duolingo manages to dodge it, and the attack alone shatters the building behind them, and G recognizes it, saying that this light is the same as back then. He then goes in for another right, which gets sidestepped, and follows up an immediate left, which gets ducked under. Even just the attacks alone are sending debris flying everywhere. Mal Wang lets out a primal scream and comes in for more attacks, which Duolingo dodges, and he says that for an insect he's not bad, but it's time for him to go to sleep as he starts to go in for his own counterattack towards Mal Wang. We see it hitting him, sending a shockwave through his back, and he begins to spit up blood. Jian yells out for him, as it's his turn now to experience the 7-page muda. He's getting hit so hard that it's creating ripples all over his body, and it sends him shooting backwards. He crashes into a wall, and one of the band members screams out for him. Duolingo looks impressed, and as Mal Wang starts to step back out immediately, we see blood pouring from all over, and he screams while coming in for another attack. Commander 5 starts laughing, saying that this is very interesting. Jian yells, telling Mal Wang to stop, and she begins crying, begging that he listen, and we see Yura's power actually hit Mal Wang. Duolingo is confused by the friendly fire, but we see that it was actually to send Mal Wang soaring away. Jian yells, asking what she's doing, and we see Yura looking extremely panicked. She says that he's not in his right mind, and she'll do what she can, so they need to hurry and escape. There's only one opponent, but she's also an S rank, so she can't die easily. The pyramid then begins to show some kind of magic circle, and Duolingo looks over as tons of enemies begin spawning in, as there is now a whole monster horde. The band members can't believe this is happening, and Duolingo clicks his tongue, saying that they are lucky, and unfortunately, he'll end things here, as he has places to go, and he tells his men to eliminate them all. As the circus has now pulled up, the pyramid begins to look as if it's warping away, and then vanishes completely as if it was never there. Jian looks completely overwhelmed by the numbers as the circus begins screaming and completely overpopulating the streets. They start to run forward, and Yura asks why he's standing here and they need to leave, because they're in her way. Her barrier starts to get cracked, and Kiwang notices this, yelling, telling her to dodge, as the attack starts to come in to kill her. A giant yellow beam shoots in from the back of the crowd, obliterating the monster in front of her, but also anything that was caught in its path. Yura turns surprised, and we see someone walking forward, saying that he might be too early, since everybody's fine, and regardless, Third Knight in shining armor is here. We are introduced to the S-rank hero 21st Century Boy, who is named Johahan. His skill is machine maker, and when it comes to machines, he can make anything. Yura asks why the heck he's so late and starts nagging at him, and then he spots a wound on her side and completely tunes her out as he gets a better look. He sees it's quite deep, and he gets angry, saying that he can't believe they left a scratch on his lovely fiancée. Ji is surprised to hear this word, and Johahan begins to say that he will not forgive them, and even more weapons start to get set online. As he shoots out an entire volley of attacks towards the circus, he says he can't believe they made his darling bleed as he is obliterating these creatures. He screams, saying they all need to die as he sends out a giant attack. The little girl still grabbing onto her brother's rock pieces, trying to put him back together as one of the circus members comes in for an attack. We hear it collide with something, and then we see that someone has actually stepped up and completely saved her from it as he's grabbing its head. He looks over towards it and then pops it like a zit, sending juices soaring everywhere. He immediately starts ripping apart each and every single one of the creatures with complete ease, and once he's finished, he picks up the little girl. G instantly recognizes him, and you should as well, because he has been in the background of a lot of gym panels, sitting behind the receptionist desk. He's even been to the concert, but for the most part, he's always been here, and that it is none other than the manager, who we learn is named Manager Lee. He is a civilian and a non-ability user. Bro is just him. He puts the little girl down beside Yura and Dave's corpse, saying that he'll leave the two of them to her. She asks why he came back as it's dangerous, and he says that she doesn't need to worry about him and that he'll go deal with the creatures first. She realizes after what she just witnessed that he's not joking, as he immediately pops another one of their heads. The other Megadeth members run in, screaming that this is revenge for Dave, and a whole outbrawl ensues. Yura says that she tells them all that she won't take responsibility if they get hurt, but G comes in, attacking one of them, saying that she is tired of sitting behind and that she wants to help too, as they need to hurry up and save Ma Wang. Yura smiles, and we see everybody fighting in their own way. The Megadeth boys are ganging up on them like it's a JJK fight. Manager Lee is just making them kiss. Yura and G are working together to keep the little girl safe. Johahan is also releasing his own attacks. Everybody is working together in unison to a degree, fulfilling their own roles. After a bit of fighting, it goes quiet, and we see there's nothing but the circus troops' corpses littered across the floor. Johahan then yells out to Yura and says that he'll give her a kiss, and she tells him to leave her alone. G asks if that's her boyfriend, and she says that he isn't. Johahan then asks where that guy is, and he's talking about none other than Ma Wang, because he doesn't see him, as it jumps to a forest inside of a pond. We see Ma Wang floating atop it, unconscious, soaked in blood.